Hello, friends. Great to be back with you. Welcome to the Chromebook Classroom Podcast. My name is John Sowash. I'm your host, and today I'll be sharing my favorite links, top 10 links for the month of January 2024. Hope you're doing well. Happy New Year to you. Everybody should be back to school. I know we've had some snow days and various things, but we're back at it for the second semester. Would love to have your support. Feel free to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. YouTube is becoming a more popular platform for people to find the show. I've started streaming these to YouTube a few months ago, fall of this past year. And yeah, it's great. It's kind of fun. Lets me share some of the visuals as well. But whether you are listening or watching, it's great to have you here. I am grateful also for Visor, who is the sponsor of this episode. Really appreciate Visor's support for a couple years now. Visor makes a wonderful Chromebook management software. If you manage 1,000 Chromebooks or more, Visor is an essential tool to help you manage your devices, repairs, payments, cases, chargers, things like that. They specialize with Chromebooks, but you can manage literally any physical piece of hardware, from iPads to digital cameras and microphones and makerspace kits. Any physical item can be managed through Visor. So if you're interested in learning more, head over to vizor.cloud/CBC, and you can sign up for a demo and even get 20% off your first year. Well, let's dive into our links for the month of January. The first link that I'd like to share with you is actually a little bit of personal news. The Sowash family is heading to Europe in the month of February. And if you'd like to follow our adventures, we're going to be blogging, sharing some of our adventure on Substack. So we recently created a Substack blog, and myself, my wife, and each of our kids will be sharing some of the stops that we make. I've got one post up there right now. One of the reasons that we've been interested in making this trip is my wife and I both attended the University of Oxford during our undergrad. This is actually a photo of us, if you're watching over on YouTube, in front of the Radcliffe camera, a very recognizable building you've probably seen photos of. We've always wanted to return and bring our family with us, and this seemed like an opportune time. My oldest is 15, my youngest is 7, so we kind of have a good age bracket. So we will be visiting 3 countries. We'll be heading over and visiting England, London, and Oxford. Then we'll head over to France, mostly Paris. And then finally, we'll head over to Italy, where we're going to be visiting Venice, Florence, and Rome. So we'll be sharing our adventures, some photos, and the kids will be writing. So if you're interested in life on the road, invite you to subscribe to our Substack. It's free. We'll be sharing with friends and family. So we do homeschool our kids, which allows us to travel like this. And for this month, we'll be doing a lot of writing and research about the historical places that we'll be visiting. I'll be recording this podcast and working on the road as well. I've got some real late night / early morning webinars that I need to attend. But that's the beauty of working remotely. All right, well, let's get in some Google updates for January. One resource that I wanted to share with you is a video that I recently created on how you can update your extension policy. For the last few years, I have been doing, and so, different schools who attend the Google Admin Bootcamp with me, they're just not comfortable with the overall structure of their Google domain. And so they hire me to perform a very, very detailed review of their Google Admin console and alert them to any security risk, vulnerabilities, areas of improvement. Having done more than 6 of these now, I've started to see some common challenges or things that need to be adjusted. And one of those challenges is a very open policy for Chrome extensions. Several schools that I just finished audits for are allowing students to install anything unless the admin explicitly blocks it. And that just leads to a lot of, distracting extensions, games, but then also some somewhat dangerous extensions. You've got, things like VPNs and development tools that can be used maliciously. So this is a pretty easy thing to do. The video will walk you through how to adjust your policy from a block list to an allow list, where you can only install things that are allowed. And then to help you further, I've also assembled a list of 50 Chrome extensions that I have personally reviewed and can recommend. So as you open up your allow list, you can seed your allowed extensions with these 50 tools, so that there's something available for staff and students to access. So it's a fairly simple process to do. And one of the good things about it is that when you switch to a allow list, any extension that is not allowed automatically is removed from the student devices. So you don't have to worry about going through and power washing devices, removing them. That'll just happen automatically. So I'll leave the link to that YouTube video. And then in the description for that video is a list of those 50 Chrome extensions that you can check out as well. All right, let's move down to link number 3. This is an update from Google. You can now convert a Google form into a practice set. This is from the Google Workspace Update blog. This is really the only, I would say, significant update from the Google Education team that I have for you this month. I've got a couple related things. Practice Sets is a premium feature of Google Classroom. It's kind of a quiz or assessment, more of a formative assessment tool. It runs directly in Google Classroom, so students don't have to go anywhere else. It has a couple nice features, allows for quick feedback, auto scoring. It's kind of a variation on Google Forms. This new feature allows you to take an existing form and import it into a practice set. And this is very convenient. A lot of you have already invested a lot of time and energy in building out forms. And so this just minimizes work that has to be done. I actually played with it. I do have access to practice sets. Play with this. It worked very well. The only issue is that it only works with multiple choice and free response questions. So I had some matching questions in my Google form and it just skipped them. It's not able to pull those in. But yeah, it's a nice way. If you have access to practice sets, you already have existing quizzes, this is an awesome, easy, simple way to get started. Another potential way that you could utilize this, there's a growing number of AI-powered tools that are able to generate Google Form quizzes. I've reviewed Conquer before. I believe MagicSchool.ai recently launched a AI to form feature. So this would allow you to use one of those tools, generate a Google form, and then import it into practice sets. Just, again, gives you another way to quickly get content into Classroom very quickly. So that's cool. That's a good update. Now, I can't steal too much of the thunder, but we are coming into the winter conference season. So I am actually heading out to FETC tomorrow in Orlando, Florida. At the same time, the BET conference will be taking place in London. I'm just going to miss it. I'll be arriving right after the conference ends. And then later in January and February, we've got TCEA and Q over in California. I fully expect that Google will be making some announcements at these conferences. I believe this year they're primarily attending the BET conference. So the reason I think things have been somewhat quiet this month with updates is because they have some interesting things planned. So we'll have to see what they announce. And of course, I'll cover it here on the podcast as soon as I learn about it. All right, let's head down to the next link, see what we've got on the list. Okay, yeah. The Google Education team has announced the dates for the 2024 Google Innovator Academies. This is a program that I attended way back in 2009. It was called something different then. It was called the Google Teacher Academy. And this is a wonderful experience to be celebrated as an innovative educator, and then also grow your network and put a project together that can have a positive impact on education. This is a significant announcement because Google has not had any Innovator Academies since before COVID, at least not any in-person academies. Now, this is a competitive application. I believe they take somewhere between 50 and 70 people per event. This year, they have 6 events planned, starting in Brussels. That will be in the Dutch language. Chicago is the United States location. The academy will take place July 17th through the 19th in Chicago. Application deadline for the Chicago one is March 19th. So it opens February 1st and then closes March 19th. So coming up quickly. Then they'll also have academies in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Seoul, Korea, Amsterdam, and then they'll wrap up the year with a virtual academy that'll be in the English language. They have not announced dates and deadlines for that academy. This is a wonderful opportunity to, again, be celebrated and also grow and learn and be stretched. It's usually a 3-day event at a Google office. So you get to visit the Google Chicago office, which is very cool, and hang out and be kind of like a Googler for several days. In order to apply, you must have your level 2 Google certification ready. I don't believe they require level 2 or level 1, which is weird. Just level 2. If it were me, I would do both, but you have to do your level 2 exam, and then you apply. There's an application. There's a video and some written portions. You apply, and then Google selects, like I said, somewhere between 50 and 70 people per cohort. So I love it. It's a great event. Highly recommend it. Those dates and deadlines are coming soon. I do also want to mention this spring, I will be hosting the very first Google Certified Trainer Academy. I have done Google Educator Academies for many years. I do the level 1, level 2 certification, but a lot of the people who have gone through my training have been interested in becoming certified trainers or certified innovators. And so I've been putting together the pieces for a trainer academy that will take you from your level 1 and 2 certification and help you obtain, like I said, either your trainer or your innovator or even coach certification. So right now I have a wait list available. I'll have dates and cost available soon. So if you're interested, you can join the wait list. I'll link to it in this podcast, the show notes for this episode, and you can check it out. Speaking of certifications, Google about a year ago offered the ChromeOS certification for administrators who manage Chromebooks. That exam was kind of being beta tested, and so it was actually free up until January of 2024. So right now, they just announced that they are extending the free offer through 2024. So the free offer will now go until January 2025. So if you are a IT administrator or the person in charge of managing Chromebooks at your school, this would be a wonderful credential to add to your resume. Normally, the exam is $125, which is not inexpensive. But like I said, you get it for free. So, I mean, even if you don't pass, there's no harm in doing so. I took this exam in 2022, and they've made it a lot easier since I took it. It used to have 2 parts, a multiple choice section, and then a practical portion where you actually had to use the admin console to create OUs and do a bunch of stuff. They have eliminated the second portion, so now it's just a 50 multiple choice question exam. Check it out. I did put together a study guide. It's just a checklist of all the skills that are included on the test. You can download that for free from my website, and that'll give you something to study. One of the reasons this is still in beta is because Google has not really built out the supporting resources for the exam. They have a joke of a study guide on their website. It's like 3 paragraphs long. But there's no course or training to help you prepare for it, which is why I put together my free study guide that you can check out. So, yeah, it's a good resume booster. I took it, and yeah, it was a good experience. It certainly was not easy. It was very technical, but a good test. Next up, I want to invite you to view and participate in a conversation happening over on my Facebook page. So I was updating, I have a presentation that I've given in the past called Sneaky Students. And it's a presentation that talks about some of the things that students do, especially on Chromebooks, to kind of bypass your class rules and security and, Go Guardian and securely and all those types of things. So I was just asking, opening it up, saying, what have you seen others, students doing? What tricks have they learned that I should add to my presentation? And I got a lot of response. So far, I have 80 comments on this, with tons of teachers chiming in on things they have, from using VPNs, using the keyboard to make sound effects, using their webcams in weird ways, using their phones for hotspots instead of the school Wi-Fi, which is filtered, and it goes on and on. So I am actively updating my presentation. I would love your feedback, what you're seeing, and then, of course, if you have any mitigations or strategies as well, I'd love to hear those. So this is a very hot topic, I guess, and you're invited to join the conversation. Classroom management with technology is a tricky one. For many, many years, I was mostly in the camp of, teachers need to be actively engaged with their students, and that can prevent, technology misuse. As the schools have gone one-to-one and students carry devices around with them all day, every day, I really don't think that a active teacher on their own can effectively manage a classroom full of technology. I do think it requires some IT level policies and additional tools to help support teachers who are doing their best. But again, there's 30 of them and one of me, and it's just hard. So it is a balance. Obviously, you want your technology to be used in useful ways, and the more you restrict and block and filter, the more challenges you come up with. So again, love your thoughts, pro, con. Let us know in that Facebook post, and eventually I'd probably turn it into maybe a podcast episode. I did one with my friend Eric Griffith a couple years ago on Sneaky Students, which has been very well received. I'll have to link to that one in the show notes for this episode. A couple more links for this year. I found an interesting Chrome extension that it's something that I've wondered about for a long time. The Chrome extension is called Right-Click QR Code Reader. Now, I've got lots of extensions for creating QR codes and even scanning QR codes, but occasionally I'll come across a situation where someone has included a QR code in a presentation, for example, and I'm looking at that presentation on my computer and I don't have my phone next to me, or it's annoying to have to scan the QR code to figure out where it went. And the person didn't put the link to the QR code next to it. So this Chrome extension allows you to right click on an image. It can recognize that as a QR code and then take you to the appropriate URL. So I realize it's kind of a niche extension, but it's definitely something that I've been annoyed by in the past. You find this QR code and like, well, great, what do I do with this? It's not printed. It's not on my phone. So how do you do this? So check that out. It's a free extension. It's very simple. Just right click and it works. Another Chrome extension that I've been playing around with is Brisk. Brisk Teaching is an AI-powered extension that does a bunch of different things, but they just added a new feature that I was quite impressed with. And, I got an email from Brisk, and to be honest, I get so many emails from companies, telling me about their latest and greatest things that usually I just tune them out. But I don't even remember. I had a few minutes, so I was like, all right, fine, I'll check it out. So I opened it up. Brisk works very well with Google Documents. So you have the Brisk extension installed. You open up a Google document, and a little window comes up with a bunch of things. You can change the reading level. You can give feedback. You can use AI to enhance it. But the new feature they added is called Inspect Writing. And so you open up a student's document. You click Inspect Writing, and it will turn the revision history for the document into like a time lapse. And so you can actually see in a fast forward style mode how the student wrote that document. And here's the more interesting thing. It also identifies areas where the student copied large amounts of text. The idea being, looking at the revision history will give you a sense if the student used AI to write it, or just rip stuff off from the internet, things like that. This feature is very similar to the oldest Chrome extension of all time, which allows you to, again, use the revision history to look back at a student's work. And this one's much cleaner than that old extension. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's been so long since I used it. I've got like 8 gazillion extensions in here. I'll find it here in a minute. It's great. It's very clean. It's very easy. Oh, DraftBack. That's what it is. Yeah. So DraftBack, I believe, was the first Chrome extension, or one of the very first. But it's a little clunky. I mean, it has been updated in like 7 years. So the Brisk teaching feature within their Chrome extension makes it really nice. And if students are going to use ChatGPT, Google Bard to generate content for an essay, eventually they have to get it into the Google document. And most of them are going to copy and paste. And so Brisk will identify those and let you make the decision about what you should do about it. So check that out. Right now it's free. I do not anticipate that it will be free forever. So jump on and try it out while you can. Speaking of AI extensions for teachers, over the Christmas holiday, I had a little bit of extra time, so I put together a list of my 5 favorite Chrome AI extensions for teachers. I've done several of these lists. I've got my 5 favorite extensions for students and for teachers and for everybody. And so these are my 5 favorite AI-powered extensions. Brisk is one of them. It's on the list. Also, Magic School, which we've talked about before. A couple of new ones that you may not be as familiar with would include Merlin. Merlin is not an education tool. It's just a productivity tool. Merlin integrates with ChatGPT and injects itself into email, Google Docs, Chrome. Just makes it very easy to use ChatGPT to generate content. I really like it. Now, all of these extensions are freemium. You get to use them so many times per week or month or day, and then you have to pay for them. So honestly, if you plan on using AI in a significant way, you're going to have to pay for it. So Merlin is very good. A similar one, I don't like it quite as much, but it's pretty good, is Writing Mate. Very similar to Merlin. It's just a Chrome extension that gives you quick access to ChatGPT in a variety of different ways. Writing Mate is nice because it does give you a quick way to export your responses to Google Docs and Google Slides, which is a bonus. But the other one I wanted to mention is CopyLeaks. And this is similar to the tool we just talked about with Brisk Teaching. CopyLeaks is a Chrome extension that will evaluate any website and try to determine if it was written by humans or artificial intelligence. Now, I realize that topic in and of itself is hotly debated about whether or not AI can identify AI. So I'll leave that debate up to the experts. I have played around with CopyLeaks, the extension, and tested it in a variety of ways. So far, I've been impressed. I mean, it's certainly not foolproof, but it gives you some information that you can use when evaluating student work. CopyLeaks, you get so many, you can check so many words, I think, per month before you have to pay for it. So you can check those out. Lots of great ways to connect with AI. I've been using ChatGPT and Google Bard quite a bit, and the big pain for those is you're constantly copying and pasting. You ask ChatGPT a question, you like the answer, then you have to paste it into Gmail or Google Docs or Google Calendar or wherever it's going to go. These Chrome extensions make it a little more seamless to work with AI where you are working, whether it's in an email or in a document. You don't have to be in a separate window all the time. So I've got a very easy, for those 5 Chrome extensions, a very easy graphic that just has photos and a short description of each one. I also did a video on each one with a short demonstration of all of them and a blog post. So if you're putting together your next newsletter to send out to teachers with new tools for them to check out, you're welcome to reuse that for your newsletter. All right, wrapping things up for the month. Link number 10. I think doesn't feel like we did 10 links already, but I guess we have. Link number 10 is a list of data privacy lessons. January 28th is known as Data Privacy Day. How will you be celebrating? Every year, January 28th is an opportunity to kind of consider your digital footprint and the information that is available publicly about you. So a couple years ago, I put together a list of 10 different lessons. And the reason there's 10, not that you would do all 10, but I have elementary and middle and high school, a variety of options for you to consider. Several of these come from Be Internet Awesome, which is good for upper elementary and middle school. So they have their internet security, internet privacy curriculum, which is a lot of fun. And then there's several lessons within Google's Applied Digital Skills curriculum that you could select for Data Privacy Day. So they have one about passwords, and then another very good one for high school called Understand Your Digital Footprint. And so they actually have students kind of build a map of what data is out there about them so they can make informed decisions about it. Common Sense Media has a couple about password security. This an early elementary lesson. Big Data Dilemma. It's about tracking and cookies and privacy from the big tech companies like Amazon, Facebook, and Google. And you can check those out. I also put together a little digital security choice board, which you could use as well. This is probably best for upper middle school and into high school. Definitely requires reading, but things like completing the Google privacy checkup, which I would recommend to everybody. Going to the Have You Been Pawned website, which will track if your passwords and email address, phone number have been sold on the dark web. Snapchat privacy checkup for those high schoolers, things like that. So, this is a topic that is important, doesn't get discussed. It's not something that's ever urgent until it's an emergency. And so if you feel like it, sometime in January, encourage your students to clean up their digital footprint a little bit by doing one of those lessons. This is something you can do as well. We'll toss a little bonus tip in here. The Google security checkup is a great thing to do. It's super easy and very, very fast. All you have to do is go to a Google website. Can be Gmail, Drive, Calendar, whatever. Click on your profile picture in the top right corner and then select Manage Your Google Account. And in there, it will prompt you to complete security checkup. Let's see here. Yeah. Privacy suggestions, security recommendations, any of those would work. And this will just do things like show you like, hey, you are signed in on this device. And it's like, oh, that's a phone that I don't use anymore. Or that's a Chromebook that I borrowed, for a few minutes at a school that I visited. And you can remove those. You can clean up your extensions and add-ons that you installed but aren't actively using. Things like that. So really simple, really easy. Everybody, even adults, should consider taking that privacy checkup. Well, that wraps up things for this episode of the Chromebook Classroom Podcast. Thank you again to Visor for supporting the show. Visor is a great tool for assisting you and helping you manage your Chromebooks, and they've added a bunch of new features. Several of the schools that I completed admin audits for have gone on to use Visor to more effectively manage their devices, and they have told me that they really like the loaner program, how easy it is to check out loaners to students when devices are out for repair. And also how easy it is to track repairs. So, where devices are, what status they're in, if you have warranty information, you can put that in there so you know exactly when devices will be back. You can learn more about Visor and sign up for a free trial by visiting visor.cloud/CBC. That's VIZOR .cloud/CBC. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm off to FETC tomorrow. It's never a bad time to visit Orlando, especially in January. So I'll be there, and then off to Europe with the family. Love to invite you to follow our adventures if you're so inclined. But I'll be here next month and all year long with more tips and tricks for using Chromebooks in your classroom.